Join us right now from beautiful Los Angeles in California. Our guest is here today to celebrate. Her beautiful picture book is called Leah is a Dragonfly Now. Please welcome to the show, Sarah McLean. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing? I'm happy to be here.
I'm doing great. I'm going to do my best not to make you laugh too hard. I don't want to bother your asthma.
No worries. If it flares up because of laughter, that is totally acceptable.
Okay. Tell us about Leah and how did she turn into a dragonfly?
Yeah, so Leah is a Dragonfly Now is based on a true story. It's about two friends, Celine and Leah, and after Leah dies, Celine decides to remember her by wearing a dragonfly bracelet. And on the 1-year anniversary of Leah's passing, Celine loses that bracelet after a scary accident, and she realizes that there must be some sort of guardian angel that is looking after her, that her and her family were able to survive this event. So yeah, it's just, dragonflies are they symbolize change and transformation. So often when people pass on or die, we don't know what happens to them. They go somewhere, and this is just kind of a nice reminder that even though people leave us, they never really leave us, that there always some sort of sign or symbolism that they're still there.
Yeah. It's such a difficult thing to talk to kids about, and it's something that adults did not talk to kids about when I was a kid. And my beautiful wife and I got a little bit of criticism when we talked to our now 29 and 32-year-old kids about death, and when they were younger, and included them in funerals and whatnot. I see things getting better. I think parents are more open to talking about it. Is that just me, or do you think as a society we're more open to speak to our kids about these difficult things?
Yeah, I think we definitely are more open to it. I don't say we as a parent because I'm not, but as a society, I'm definitely seeing that trend, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, as far as mental health being talked about more, and just women's rights, and just everything. We're talking about things more, and death is a touchy subject, and even saying the word death was something. When I was naming this book, people are like, I don't know, having death in the title, and grief is a more acceptable word to use, but we're talking about it more, and we need to talk about it because it does affect us all, and it affects us all at every age. And we need to be able to handle it regardless of if we're 2 or if we're 100. How are we going to talk about it, and how are we going to talk about it with those different age groups? And it's really great seeing that there are a lot more books coming out now about grief, about loss, about death, that are targeting really young kids and handling things in a simple way. And this book is more for, middle grade, maybe, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, where I'm tackling the subjects with more symbolism, and we're actually saying that Leah died, I'm using that word. So I also leave it up to the parent, the teacher, the counselor to decide how they want to use this book, and they're talking to their child about grief and loss. And that's really why I wanted to have this book out in the world, is to have that discussion. So yeah. Kids can read this book, and maybe there isn't something that they understand. Maybe there's a word they don't know, but hopefully it prompts a discussion with some adult that they can have a discussion about it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know of a kid who doesn't experience a death in their lives. I'm looking back at my kids as they were growing up, and they lost grandparents, they lost classmates, they lost grandparents of their friends. And so there's no way we can hide our kids from it. I know there are a lot of parents who'd like to bubble wrap their kids and make sure they don't experience any loss or any grief, but that's, not only is it not possible, it's not healthy.
Yeah. And like you said, we're seeing that being talked about more. And I think mental health, or health in all areas, is something that we're very more mindful of and thinking about, because I think we're seeing the effects of how people grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s and repressing things has not been good for their physical health as well. I know I kept a lot in throughout my life, and it had negative effects on just my physical health. And we need to talk and get things out. And it can be hard and it can be very difficult, but for our longer term well-being, we need to talk about things. And yeah, it's easy to ignore and push away, but that will always come back around.
Yeah. You mentioned this is based on a true story, that Leah did pass. How old was Leah when she passed?
So Leah was 35. She had 2 young kids and she died of colon cancer, which is another reason I wanted this book out. And I even have a little note in the book about making sure people get checked regularly, whether you're a child or adult. My friend, Leah, was healthy, didn't drink, didn't smoke, was, for all intents and purposes, a very healthy person and got colon cancer. And this was 10 years ago at a time when 35-year-olds didn't get colon cancer. And we're seeing that now more as, over the last decade of starting to get checked when you're 45. So they're even lowering the age of being screened. So it was really important for me to get this out because cancer is also another touchy subject. And I don't explicitly say that in the book, but it is something that I do want to talk about when I talk about the book of, let's take care of our bodies and our health. And if you feel like something's off, don't wait to get checked. Go see a doctor sooner rather than later.
Yeah, yeah. I'm guessing that Leah was somebody special in your life?
Yeah, so she was actually someone I met through my then day job back in Rhode Island. And, I worked at an engineering company, and there's a lot of older white men who work there. And there was a few of us who were, out of college in our 20s and our 30s. So the small amount of us females who were younger kind of gravitated towards each other. And she just became a really good friend of mine, a good supporter. She called me TV Sarah because I then moved to LA and she couldn't wait to see me on TV. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But, I think I've honored her legacy very well. This originally was a animated short film, then turned into a book. So even though she didn't get to see me on TV as an actor and a writer, I think I've done very well by her in honoring her.
Yeah. You were mentioning that, the dragonfly symbolizes change. Can you talk a little bit more about why you chose that creature?
Well, that wasn't really my choice. That was Leah's choice. So when she was going through her cancer journey, I don't even know who or what or how that came about, but the dragonfly became her symbol. And I think it is because of going through her chemotherapy process and the treatment, she learned that dragons do symbolize a transformation, and usually from life to death. So I think, as you come to terms with things throughout her life and how we're here for a limited amount of time, I think that became her symbol. So, like I mentioned earlier, Celine was given a dragonfly bracelet, as was I and a handful of other close friends and family after Leah passed, and that was our symbol because it was Leah's symbol and our way to remember her. So that was all Leah and her family and her journey that the dragonfly became synonymous with her.
Wonderful that you were able to have that friendship and relationship with her. How did she change your life?
Man, she's just always been a big supporter of mine. Like I said, she was so supportive of me moving to LA to pursue my dreams. Like I said, couldn't wait to see me on TV. I just know she's always there rooting for me. And especially, I had no intentions of making a movie about this or about her, or that she would impact my life and my creative life so much, because I consider myself a storyteller. And this story of Leah becoming a dragonfly and this crazy event that happened to Celine has been a part of my life for about 10 years now. Mm-hmm. And I never would have expected that at any point, even after knowing that she got sick and hearing Celine tell me this story, it's been an unexpected journey that I'm very proud to and honored to tell and share.
Oh, yeah. As an actress, you're typically telling other people's stories. You're telling a story that a screenwriter told. How is it telling your own story and writing this book and coming out and with this piece of creativity? Boy, I just lost my ability to speak a moment ago.
All good. We all have those moments where we just lose our words. It's freeing. Like I said, I consider myself a storyteller. So even when I'm telling other people's stories, acting is a collaborative field where we're taking part in it. But this has really been, other than me sharing someone else's story, because I didn't live this. Celine, this happened to her, and this is her relationship with Leah. But I'm just the one telling the story. Mm-hmm. And yes, there are some Hollywood liberties as far as editing and some rearranging of things for better storytelling. But as a creative person, I just feel the need to get those things out. And it is freeing to be able to tell things the way I want to tell them and just share what I have to share with the world. Because I really want to take people on an emotional roller coaster where within this one story, whether it's a 32-page picture book or an 8-minute animated short or a 30-minute comedy pilot that I wrote, I want people to laugh and cry and feel all the emotions that they can feel.
Yeah. How does Celine feel with the final product?
Oh, she loves it. I don't want to say she was hesitant at first, but she just couldn't believe that I would want to do this and tell this story. But she was very honored. And I actually heard from her a few days ago because she was up visiting her mom and her aunt, who are also part of the story, and was able to share the book with them. And they rewatched the movie, and her mom loved it. I haven't heard yet what her aunt thinks about it. I'm sure she will also enjoy it, but she's kind of enjoying the notoriety and the press that she's getting, at least locally in Rhode Island, for being somewhat famous, I guess. But yeah, she's also such a sweet person that the fact that this story is living on and we're still honoring Leah, I'm sure means a lot to her.
Yeah, beautiful. Where have we seen you on the screen?
There's a lot of stuff out there, so I don't know what people watch. Most recently, I was in an episode of Law & Order Organized Crime, which was amazing because I'm a huge fan of Law & Order, especially SVU. But I got to work on the Christopher Meloni show that just came out a few years ago. So I got to work opposite Christopher Meloni and Oscar winner Ellen Burstyn. So no big deal.
No, really, yeah.
Just, another day in the life of a working actor. And I've also been on a few Apple TV shows, Little America, because I used to play baseball and they were looking for baseball players. So that was a nice way in. And then Defending Jacob, which was filmed in Boston, just outside of Boston with Chris Evans.
Great. There are parents out there who have kids who are thinking, I'd love to be an actor. I'd love to get out to Hollywood, and that's my dream. And the parents are like, oh, that's so unrealistic. It's so difficult to do. Get yourself a job. You had the job. You were an engineer. And then at some point you said, I'm going to go for my dream. What advice would you have for those parents whose kids are aspiring to be actors?
First of all, I was not an engineer. I just did administrative work.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But yeah, this industry is changing constantly, as I'm sure you are hearing to some degree, and we're really in a state of flux, but there's no reason to not follow your dream, whether it is acting, whether it is something else that is not creative. Life is too short, as I've learned, that there's no reason not to follow your dream. And the good thing is, with how things have been going lately, you don't need to be in LA. There's New Mexico, Atlanta, Boston, New York, Chicago, even the Pacific Northwest. There's so many markets that you can follow your dream and be a working actor in your hometown to some degree. And one of the big things we're told as actors is, you know, when you have a day job, like I still have a day job, and from the outside perspective, that makes it seem like you're not an actor because you have to do something else. And once you can get past that way of thinking as a creative, as an actor, it is freeing, because just because you may have to have a supplemental job doesn't mean you're any less of a creative, any less of an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I say go for it. Like I said, life is too short to not do what you want to do in life.
Yeah. We should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Leah is a Dragonfly Now and find out more about you.
Yeah, so there's a website, leahthedragonflybook.com. It's got more about the book, the story, ways you can watch the movie. The movie's available on Amazon. It's just called Dragonfly, but you can find all that out at the websites. There's also a coloring book that's out that has images from the movie, from the book. It's got discussion questions about the book, resources for parents, counselors, teachers. And then Instagram, Leah the Dragonfly Book. One thing I do want to say too, and that this is also on the website, is ever since I've started this project, people will now come up to me and tell me their dragonfly stories, which is just so heartwarming, that now I've taken on this mantle of being the dragonfly person. They'll tell me, oh my God, I just saw a dragonfly the other day. And they'll notice things, or that someone, butterflies remind them of their mom, and they'll notice butterflies more. And that's really been the biggest takeaway for me from this journey, is people just being a little more aware and opening their eyes more about seeing the signs and the symbols around them every day of those people that are no longer with them. And I share some of those stories on the website.
Beautiful, beautiful. Will there be more children's books coming from you?
Maybe. I don't know. As anyone who's written a children's book knows, it takes a lot out of you. So I'm taking a little break right now. I do see how this could be a series, so I'm thinking about that and exploring. But I'm such a creative person that I'm also into photography and crafting, that I don't like to limit myself to one thing. So if I get inspired to do another children's book, I will definitely do it. Right now, there's nothing brimming under the surface, so we'll see what happens.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Leah is a Dragonfly Now. It's a great picture book, middle grade book for kids, from our guest, Sarah McLean. Sarah, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.